LeBlanc and Lilia are nerfed for this patch, so they'll be dropping off the solo carry list, while we've got at least one change for every role as we bring you guys 3 of the best solo carries for each role in patch 14.17. And are you sick of losing games from bad teammates? Well, at SkillCapped, we turn your frustrating losses into satisfying wins. Take our brand new Season 14 courses that teach you the secrets to winning as top laner, jungler, mid laner, AD carry, and support. Then pair that with our other new courses on how to counter OP top and mid laners, master your jungle clears, or check out our new Bronze to Diamond series. We even have new Season 14 courses on macro, wave control, trading, settings and hotkeys, CSing, vision, mechanics, low elo mistakes, and the list goes on. Then head over to our Smurf commentaries. Simply select the champion you want to master and get guides from challenger experts teaching how to play your champion in the exact rank you're stuck in. You're even guaranteed to have all your questions answered by that very same challenger expert. Our service really does work. That's why we offer a rank up guarantee. If you don't rank up while actively using SkillCapped, you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below right now to get the rank you've always dreamed of. So starting off in the top lane, a really strong solo carry champ for the current meta is Garen. With how simple Garen is to play, and with how well he's faring against many of the most played top laners in solo queue, there's great incentive to play him right now. Aatrox is currently the most played top laner by quite a wide margin, and it's a matchup that Garen can neutralize or even win. Running Phase Rush as your keystone rune is really the key to succeeding into Aatrox and many other top laners who are reliant on skill shots. If you dive in on Aatrox and proc Phase Rush, it becomes super difficult for the Aatrox to hit all of his Qs, and that bodes very well for you in terms of winning trades. Garen being a champ without a skill shot means that he becomes extremely oppressive with a lead, and if you can learn your matchups and find ways to gain advantages, snowballing games is way easier with Garen than most top laners. Your core 2 items for every single game are going to be Stridebreaker and Phantom Dancer, but from then on out, it's pretty situational. For heal cut, you can go Mortal Reminder. For raw damage, Infinity Edge is great, and if you just want added tankiness, Deadman's or Force of Nature are viable too. Matchup wise for Garen right now, Camille is one of the more difficult matchups in meta that we would recommend you ban out. Phase Rush is the best performing keystone on Garen for solo queue. However, Conqueror is an alternative option as well if you feel like you don't need the added movement speed as much due to the enemy comp being less mobile. The highest priority top lane champion for solo queue and who actually avoids any nerfs for this patch is Aatrox. Now, Aatrox does have a bit of a higher skill floor than Garen, so you will have to put more time into him to really see the results, but the champ is just so rewarding in the right hands, which makes it very worthwhile. Aatrox has even got better over the past patch with the new Black Cleaver builds popping up on him. If you guys watched our OP builds video from 14.16, you'd already know of this build, but it's the Cleaver Rush into Profane 2nd and Hubris 3rd that Nile, who's a challenger Aatrox on EU West, has been playing. Build feels really nice because you get a bit of durability and armor shred from Black Cleaver, but then going Profane with Hubris amplifies one-shot power immensely. So you're pretty difficult to take down while dishing out loads of damage at the same time. Ban-wise for Aatrox right now, you really can't go wrong with Fiora, as she can be more annoying to play against unless you're super polished on your Aatrox. The rune page that you should be taking is Conqueror with Triumph, Haste, and Last Stand, while Second Wind and Revitalize are for secondaries. And to wrap up the top 3 for top lane for this patch, it's going to be a solo carry staple with Set. We've had Set on the solo carry list probably longer than any other champion, as the top lane meta has been relatively unchanged for a while now, and Set has just remained a very solid pick. Set is a bit like Garen in the sense that if you can find ways to generate advantages, accelerating that lead becomes pretty easy due to how stat checky the champ can be. Basically, what this means is that as long as you have items and are ahead of the enemy, there's almost no way for them to outplay due to the reliable damage that Set can output with his Q and the sticking power he has with R. Now, one important thing to note that has affected Set over the past patch were the adjustments to Blade of the Ruined King. Players who rush Blade on Set have actually seen a decline in win rate by around 2% after the changes went live, and Stridebreaker Rush is now winning about 4% more, which is a big gap. So if you had been going the Blade of the Ruined King rush on Set, definitely drop it in favor of Stridebreaker, while Hullbreaker and Overlord's Bloodmail are solid 2nd and 3rd pickups. One of Set's worst performing matchups analytically for solo queue right now is Volibear, and with the champ being played at a pretty high rate in meta, he's a good ban. The standard rune page for Set revolves around Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, while Second Wind and Overgrowth are for secondaries. So with Lilia dropping out of the top 3 for this patch, if you're looking for a strong AP jungler who's also got some really nice teamfight impact, Amumu is the play. Amumu is riding high right now, being able to take full advantage of the Liandry's rush and spiking super hard on that item completion. It took players quite some time to actually realize the strength of Liandry's rush on Amumu, but now that it's caught on, the champ is just tearing up solo queue. Here's a look at the standard core build, as it's Liandry's with Sunfire Aegis, and then situationally tanky from then on out. Champs that can nullify Amumu's backline access are always good to consider banning out, so Lulu or Braum are two good options in meta. For the rune page, you should be taking Conqueror with Triumph, Haste, and Last Stand, while Cheap Shot and Ultimate Hunter are the best secondaries. The best assassin jungler that you can play for solo queue right now is Kha'Zix. Kaz gotten even better as of late due to the repeated buffs that Riot dished out to Dark Harvest. Kha'Zix has actually been one of the few junglers who's had a positive win rate in the Lilia matchup, so with her nerf for this patch, that gets even better for him. There are a few variations of Kha'Zix builds that you can run right now, as some players like to rush Ghostblade, while Profane Hydra is an option as well. Definitely pros and cons to both, as you'll have more catch power and skirmish strength with Ghostblade, but your clear and one-shot power with Profane will be stronger. Ka loves playing into squishy junglers, as it makes his life so much easier once he has a few items, while junglers that build tanky can give him some issues if games drag out. Amumu being highly prioritized right now is a solid ban, since if you don't snowball hard early, it's going to be difficult to match his later game teamfight presence. The complete rune page for Kha'Zix that is finding the most success in high elo right now consists of Dark Harvest with Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Treasure Hunter, while Freeboots and Cosmic Insight are for secondaries. To round out the top 3 for jungle, we have another jungler who can take full advantage of the Liandry's rush, and that champ is Udyr. If you want the easiest elo right now, just start spamming Udyr. Champ is relatively easy to learn and has such great impact with minimal skill required. Empowered R when you have your Liandry's completed is absolutely disgusting with this champion. It takes no skill at all to use, but will chunk health bars way more than you'd expect. To be clear, the skill order that you want to prioritize when playing this style of Udyr is R first, W second, and then E last. You'll take Q at level 1 to help with your clear, but you don't spend another skill point on the ability for the rest of the game. You get R maxed out at level 11, and that's where you're going to spike really hard with Liandry's completed. Here's what your build should be looking like, as it's Liandry's with Deadman second, and situational tanky from then on out. Champs with point-and-click CCU can prevent Udyr from being as mobile as he would like in fights, are always good bans, so Lulu or Braum are two good options right now. Your rune page will consist of Conqueror with Triumph, Haste, and Last Stand, followed by Freeboots and Approach Velocity for secondaries. Moving on to mid lane now, making his first appearance on the solo carry list in a while is Sylas. Now, Sylas is getting a small nerf to his WAP ratio for this patch, but we don't see that dropping his strength very much. The buffs from 14.16 were huge for Sylas, and there's now many viable ways that you can build the champ, which is amazing for solo queue. The new build that has come into meta as of recent is a Rocket Belt Rush into Cosmic Drive second. You can run this build in every game if you want, but it's going to be even more optimal when up against comps that have more bruisers or tanks. If you go Lichbane with Shadow Flame against comps that you can't even one-shot, you're going to have a much more difficult time in skirmishes. What's so nice about Rocket Belt and Cosmic Drive is that you're getting a lot of health and ability haste, which allows you to thrive way more in drawn-out fights, which you'll need to take down more tanky champs. Lichbane with Shadow Flame is still 100% viable though if you are playing into a comp that's majority squishy, where you can just one-shot them. Worst matchups for Sylas right now are Galio and Vex, so either champ is worth considering banning out. There are two different rune pages that you can run on Sylas depending on which build you take. If you're going for Lichbane Rush, then Electrocute is going to be the play, while Rocket Belt with Cosmic Drive is best played with Conqueror. For our second solo carry mid of the patch, who's incredibly powerful for the current meta, we have Vex. Vex gets even better for 14.17 because 3 matchups that she already does quite well in are being nerfed. Cat, Sylas, and LeBlanc are all being directly nerfed for this patch, which gives Vex an even greater edge up against them. As long as you're playing around W cooldown when going up against these assassin or fighter mids, it's very difficult for you to actually lose a trade. So shifting how you position in lane based on if your W is up or down is very key to winning with Vex, especially if you have your fear ready to proc. Champs like Yasuo, Yone, Sylas, or Katarina can never really even aggress onto you, as it's just a guaranteed free trade. Hui or Syndra are two of the better bans for Vex right now, as they're being played quite a bit in meta and are longer ranged mages, which are the kind of champs that Vex struggles against the most. The standard build for Vex consists of Luden's Rush into Shadow Flame second and Zanya's or Rabadon's third. Grab Electrocute for the Keystone rune with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and Ultimate Hunter, while Mana Flow and Transcendence are for secondaries. With a bunch of mid lane assassins getting nerfed for this patch, there's even more incentive to spam the best solo queue assassin being Nefiri. Nefiri has been great for a while now, but very much like Sylas, she's had this new build emerge that gives her even more versatility. We covered this one in our 14.16 OP builds video, as Stridebreaker Rush is performing super well in the champ and solo queue. You can almost play Nefiri a little more like a bruiser when going for Stride, as you pair it up with Eclipse second for some nice durability. Of course, it really depends on the game in hand and what the enemy comp is looking like, as this Stridebreaker Rush is going to be best when you're playing to more bruisers or tanks. Eclipse with Profane Hydra is the alternative 2-item core that will provide better one-shot strength, so it's better into squishier comps. This matchup stat is just hilarious right now, and could get even more insane for 14.17 since LeBlanc is getting nerfed nerfed, but Naafiri had been winning over 57% of the time against LeBlanc throughout 14.16. The one matchup that majority of Naafiri players have been struggling more against is Yone, and with him being played quite a bit in meta, he's a good ban choice. The standard rune page consists of First Strike with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, while Sudden Impact and Treasure Hunter are for secondaries. With nerfs to Fleet Footwork combined with direct nerfs to Ashe and Ezreal for 14.17, the ADC meta is going to be favoring Miss Fortune even more. MF has been one of the better ADCs over the past couple of patches, and she'll indirectly rise higher for 14.17. Now, one thing that our challenger analyst Hector pointed out in his recent full game commentary on Miss Fortune is that he thinks Essence Reaver Rush is actually being slept on. His reasoning is that he thinks players are overvaluing the shield from Bloodthirster early on, since it does scale better once you have more levels. By rushing Essence Reaver, you just have a lot more burst damage potential from the Spellblade proc, and getting 25 ability haste early on is really nice for more uptime on R. The stats actually do check out with this ER Rush too, as it is winning more than Bloodthirster right now. Of course, you'll still grab Bloodthirster, but it's going to be slotted in second instead of first, and then Infinity Edge is standard third. Using your ban on a meta dive champ is never a bad idea when picking Miss Fortune, so Kha'Zix or Zed are two good options right now. The best rune setup for Miss Fortune consists of Press the Attack with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cut Down, while Free Boots and Biscuits are for secondaries. Nerfs to Fleet for this patch should really help Draven emerge as one of the top tier solo queue ADCs. Draven has gained a lot of indirect strength over the past few patches, with meta ADCs like Jinx and Kai'Sa getting nerfed, while items that Draven does not use like Kraken and Shiv were nerfed as well. And then for this patch we have more nerfs to Fleet Footwork. Draven does really well with the Bloodthirster Rush right now, as it allows him to play super aggro. You can take very aggressive trades and then use the lifesteal to heal back up to then rinse and repeat. The complete core build that you should prioritize on Draven is a Bloodthirster Rush into Infinity Edge second and Lord Dom's third. Ban-wise for Draven, you really can't go wrong with getting rid of meta assassins, so Zed or Kha'Zix are two good options right now. Optimal rune page for Draven is Press the Attack with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cut Down, while Eyeball Collection and Treasure Hunter are for secondaries. Very surprised that Jhin was not on the nerf list for this patch, as he's been pulling away as the most powerful solo queue ADC as of late. Nerfs to Fleet will hurt Jhin a bit, but the changes also hurt a plethora of other ADCs as well, so Jin's relative strength really shouldn't fall that much. If anything, he's just more in line with MF and Draven now, instead of being that cut above like he was in 14.16. With Jhin right now, you've got two really strong meta builds that allow him to adapt well to each game. Shiv with Fire Cannon has become more of a cookie cutter setup, but the one big downside to the build is that you're lacking a considerable amount of damage. The Collector into Infinity Edge is definitely going to provide more pop in the mid game, while Shiv and Fire Cannon allows you to play a lot safer with all the added movement speed and range you get. So definitely pros and cons to both. If you're against a more squishy dive comp where positioning and just staying alive becomes a lot more important, going Shiv with Fire Cannon is really good. If you're playing against a comp with low dive threat where you won't need to be scrambling as much for positioning in fights, just going the higher damage route with Collector and IE is the play. Your ban when playing Jhin is usually best allocated towards champs who can dive right in and one-shot you, so with Zed and Ka being in meta, they are two good bans to consider. Rune Page is going to consist of Fleet Footwork with Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Coup de Grace, while Celerity and Gathering Storm are for secondaries. Senna absolutely dominated the support meta in 14.16, and we don't see that changing for 14.17 even with the nerfs. Riot's mainly targeting the AP ratios on Senna's Q and R, and while that does weaken the strength of her Echoes of Helia with Moonstone build, the sleeper OP Black Cleaver build rises in priority. Black Cleaver is now much better on Senna as of last patch because Riot implemented a change to where you now gain 2 stacks of Black Cleaver's passive whenever you use Q, and whenever you consume a passive stack by hitting an enemy. So as you can see in the background clip here, a simple Q into auto attack is now giving you a very quick 4 stacks of Black Cleaver's passive. It's tough to say if the nerfs to Senna's AP ratios will completely kill the Enchanter build, but this heavier damage build does get stronger for this patch, and you should definitely try it out. Bloodsong will be the support item upgrade, followed by the Black Cleaver Rush into Rapid Fire Cannon second. Pyke losing armor for this patch is also really nice for Senna, as that has been historically one matchup she's always had a negative win rate against in solo queue. Pyke or Blitz are generally good ban choices when picking Senna, but with Pyke now nerfed, we'll have to see if the matchup becomes more manageable. The rune page for Senna is going to consist of Airy with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, while Font of Life and Revitalize are for secondaries. With nerfs to Warmogs this patch, we're going to see a lot of melee supports lose strength, but one champ who's not as reliant on the item who will remain a very strong pick is Poppy. Despite Poppy being one of the elite solo queue performers in recent patches, she's yet to really break through and obtain a super high play rate, but we think that could change very soon. Leona has been the most popular melee support as of late, but she's going to be losing quite a bit of power this patch because Warmog's Rush has been by far her highest win rate item in recent patches. Poppy, on the other hand, likes to rush Deadman's Plate, so the nerfs to Warmogs do not affect affect her. After going Deadman's, you can look to pick up Locket, while Bloodsong is going to be Poppy's best support item upgrade. Poppy has a more difficult time succeeding when playing against supports who have good disengaged strength, so banning out Janna is good value. Here's what your rune page should be looking like when playing Poppy, as it's Hail of Blades with Sudden Impact, Zombie Ward, and Treasure Hunter, followed by Hex Flash and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. One of the best enchanters that you'll be able to play for solo queue this patch is going to be Nami. Nami has been great for a while now, but with Seraphine getting nerfed and many melee supports losing strength due to the Warmog's nerfs, the tides are shifting even more so to Nami's favor. It's so nice that Nami is no longer bootstrapped to Lucian, as you can pick the champ regardless of ADC and perform just as well, if not better. Nami-Lucian duo actually has a pretty low win rate right now, as Jhin, Kai'Sa, Smolder, Jinx, and Draven are all winning more when paired with Nami. The core build that is going to work best for you consists of Dreammaker as the item upgrade, followed by Imperial Mandate. From then on out, it's pretty situational and just adapting to what your team needs most. Nami thrives in lanes where she can take multiple trades over a long period of time and just eventually win out by using her heals, so using your ban on a catch support who can nullify that game plan like Blitzcrank is a good idea. The best performing rune page for Nami consists of Aerie with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, while Bone Plating and Revitalize are for secondaries. Alright guys, one last thing, our rank up guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit SkillCapped.com and see the difference. So that's gonna wrap everything up for our 14.17 edition of the best solo carries. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.